Hey everyone, it's Dylan with CT Aquatics, and today we're going to be doing this ICP test. So for today's test, I've gotten these ATI ICP tests. Now if you're unfamiliar with ICP testing, basically you take a sample of your water and you send it out to a lab, and the lab is going to analyze it at a very deep level, and it's going to be able to give you very accurate readings of all of the elements in your tank, specifically for trace elements. So right now, on your reef tank, most people are going to be testing alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, nitrates, and phosphates. But there's also a big role in growth and coloration in your corals is the trace elements. So stuff like iodine, or boron, or strontium, or silicates. There's going to be a whole bunch of different elements that we don't test for because they're in such small amounts. A normal test kit's not going to be able to pick up on the small readings. So that's why we use an ICP test. These companies, there's multiple companies that do this, and basically the test, like I said, it's able to measure those very, very microscopic amounts of the trace elements, so we can know what we need to add or what we potentially need to remove from our systems. So this is the test. I'm going to start on this frag tank, and I'm going to do all the tanks here at CT Aquatics. But to start, I'm just going to open the package. And inside, it's pretty simple. It comes with 4 vials for your samples. It comes with some instructions. And then it also comes with a shipping label and some other stuff that you'll use for registering your sample on their website. So I'm going to set the instructions and the shipping label and everything aside for now, and I'm just going to do the tests for our water samples. So it's pretty simple. 3 of the vials are going to be from your tank, and the 4th vial is going to test your RODI water. So to start, I'm going to do the tank, and I'll do the RODI after. So the test is pretty simple. I'm going to take the cap off of the vial. I'm going to fill it with water from the tank, and then just as a way to rinse it, I'm going to dump that out into the cup. And now I will fill it up one more time, and once it's full, I'll simply put the cap back on, and there's our first sample. We're going to do that 2 more times with the remaining 2 test tubes. So we fill it once with tank water, discard it, cap on. And then, just because I can, this is all one system. I'm just going to take my 3rd sample from this other tank. I'm pretty sure that these 3 samples get averaged together to get the most accurate reading. So I'm just taking it from multiple places in the same system to see if it creates any difference. But now we've got our 3 test tubes filled with water. So those will go back into the vial, or into the package, and now all we have left to do is sample the RODI water. We filled the RO sample up with water, and so now this is all set. So we've got the 1 sample with RO water, and then we have 3 samples from the tank. So these are all going to go into one package together, and then we're going to repeat this test on the rest of the tanks. So now we're over at the other office, and I'm going to do the ICP test on the 2 tanks here. To start, I'm going to do the RO sample, fill it with RO water from our RO vat. I'm going to just dump it in the sink. Fill the sample up, cap it off, and the RO is all set for this tank. And now we have the samples from the executive tank. Now I'll take the water sample from the kitchen tank. Now that we have a sample from all the tanks, it's time to ship off the samples to get them analyzed. So after we sent out the ICP tests, we now have finally gotten our results a few days later. So I have them up on the screen. I have my screen recording as well, so you'll be able to follow along with everything that I'm saying. So the tank that we tested every tank at our facility, but the tank that we really focused on mainly was the frag tank. So I'm just gonna review the results for that tank. So I've logged into the website for the ATI test that we did, and I'm just gonna click on results for the frag tank. So what's nice is they actually give you a quality percentage that they rate your tank, basically saying it's that good or bad. So an 86 is generally pretty good. That's a B in my book. So now we'll click this arrow and continue on. All right, so we got an 86 because our major elements was 98%. Our minor elements is 86, and that's where the score comes from. Then our pollutants and our base elements are at 100%, which is perfect. So if we look at our base elements, which is salt and alkalinity, we're perfectly in range. The ideal value, which is ocean value, is 35, and if you click on it, it gives you a description, but we'll get out of it. So the ocean seawater normally has 35 PSU, and I'm sitting at 35.29, almost exactly, just a little elevated, but not bad. Then alkalinity, the normal value is 7.5 DKH, and our tank was at 8.3. Continuing on, our major elements, I'm just gonna list them off, and I'm not gonna go through the values until one of them is not in a normal range, and we'll explain what we do in that situation. So chloride, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, calcium, potassium, bromine, strontium, boron, and fluorine. All of them are good except fluorine is slightly elevated. In this case, we can probably fix it by changing a little bit of the water. It may be elevated due to one of the additives that we're putting in the tank. Continuing on, we're gonna go to the minor elements. We've got lithium, which is good, and then silicon, iodine, and barium are all decreased. In this case, I've been dosing each of these elements in order to help bring them back up. These are gonna help with coral coloration by dosing them. Clearly, the coral is absorbing them in some manner. That's why they're decreased. So we're gonna have to add some of that back in. Continuing on, we've got molybdenum, nickel, manganese, arsenic, beryllium, chrome, cobalt, iron, copper, selenium, silver, vanadium, zinc, and tin. It says the vanadium's too high. I'm gonna have to look into how to reduce that. But as of right now, my best option is most likely to do a water change. Real quick, we'll look at the nutrients, which are nitrates and phosphates. This tank, I have to dose them in pretty regularly. I manage them. This is all pretty much right where I want them. And then our pollutants are good. We have low levels of aluminum, and we have no detectable levels of anything else. For this ATI test, right at the top here, we also tested the reverse osmosis water. So looking through, it does say we're getting small amounts of copper. So that's something that I'm gonna have to look into. I may have to replace my RODI filters. But otherwise, we have nothing coming through. So I don't think we're getting the high vanadium from the RO water. So it could either be from the salt or from some other additive that I'm putting into the tank. But again, I think to lower it, I could just do a water change. I don't think the source is the salt water. Next, we also have this diagram. This shows composition. It's not the easiest to read. I'm not gonna actually go through this. Recommendations, it does tell you different options for ways to fix for the recommendations, it does give you some recommendations on what you can do in order to fix some of the problems here. So for the vanadium, it says to do 3 water changes, 20% water with absolute ocean. I'm not going to actually do anything with that. I have done some small water changes. We're going to do another ICP test, see what comes back. The zinc is elevated, same thing, the water changes should help. And same with the fluorine, and then the copper in the reverse osmosis water, like I said, may need to change the filters, so I'll probably change the resins. For recommended dosing, it says to do iodine, manganese, iron, and barium. I have been doing the iodine. I do need to get the additives for the rest of them. So that's pretty much it. You've seen us go through and do the ICP tests on all of the tanks, and now we've shown you how to read the results. So next, the only thing left to do is take action in order to fix some of these trace elements. Thanks for watching.